Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
It's time to renew your brilliance so that you do not go into the feast or famine treadmill. Now, I understand you're a coach, you're a consultant, and you're a small business owner that's trying to grow their business. And one thing I know for sure is that growing your own business is tough. You know, it goes from cold calling potential clients and having them hang up in your face every time that you introduce your business to them or something like that. And you're sending out hundreds of emails without getting as much of a, hey, John, thank you so much for reaching out with this information. We will act on it, or it's helped us, improve our services or streamline our business. And you're obviously wasting thousands and thousands of dollars on ad spend without even generating any qualified leads. Now, that's what Feast or Famine Treadmill does to a lot of people. Sometimes you are eating as much as you possibly can, and sometimes you can't even pay your bills, or sometimes it feels like no one even wants to buy what you're selling. And when you rely on your business to pay rent or put food on your table, it can put an enormous strain on your emotions, and you're terrified, of having to give up on your dreams of creating a business that's profitable and enjoyable. Well, we keep referring to the Feast or Famine treadmill. Feast or famine is defined as a situation in which something is always either extremely abundant, that's the feast, or extremely in short supply. And in this case, that something is sales leads or clients or revenue. You know what I mean? Where that will help you grow your business. Now, do you often have times when your team or yourself is so busy you can barely manage at all? Or are they followed by times where your team is frantically making calls in the hopes of drumming up new business? Or maybe this is you yourself doing it in order to bring in new clients, and you're thinking to yourself, how can I grow my business and compete with the big players when it's always ebbs and flows, feast and famine, based on the economy or the time that we live in? So if you answered yes, then I suppose you're a victim of what we call feast or famine. And me and my wife, we've been watching this show on Netflix. It's called Mom, where they go to the AA, the Alcoholics Anonymous, and usually they say admitting is the first step. Are you going through bouts of feast and famine within your business, and there's no consistency when it comes to generating leads and maintaining the flow of your revenue? Now let's focus on how you can get off this seemingly never-ending treadmill and position your sales team or yourself to always have a steady flow of leads coming through your door. All right, so I can imagine, the biggest problem that you might have as an entrepreneur, marketing is just one aspect of running your successful business. Going from hiring and managing new staff or a sales team or balancing books and driving growth and more, it always feels like a constant balancing act where you're pulled in multiple different directions all at once. And this is what then results in this feast or famine scenario that we're talking about. One way for you to actually not go through this emotional or revenue roller coaster is being proactive. All right. So maybe your sales team finds themselves on a feast or famine treadmill only because they are being reactive. Okay. So once you want to really make your business profitable and enjoyable, consistency is key, and for that to happen you have to actually mitigate any problems before they come through. That means you need to have identified your target market, you need to have clarified your message, and then determine what media you're going to be reaching out that audience from. Because if you're just going to be spraying and praying with your marketing, then obviously you will have a ticket and a front row seat on the feast or famine treadmill. And like I said, a lot of people that find themselves in this predicament are usually reactive in nature. Okay, so this happens when they receive a new lead, they nurture it, and then they're taking it through maybe the sales cycle that they have, and then go on to close the deal. But then they wait for the next lead, and if the next lead doesn't come through, the famine begins. All right, so if you allow yourself or your team to always get too comfortable at feast time, when there's a lot of leads coming through, and neglect building your sales pipeline, then it's easy for these leads to dry up, and then you find yourself in panic mode where you just end up taking anything with a pulse and a credit card just so that you can meet your sales quota or you can increase your revenue. So successful coaches and consultants always mitigate the risk of going into famine by always being proactive. Okay, and this happens when it comes to your leads, because you've identified your target market. Don't just sit back and wait for the marketing team to provide them, or wait for your website to start converting leads. You gotta go out there and be making those calls, or creating content and connecting to your audience. You go out there as a business owner, attending events and developing your own presence and thought leadership, especially on LinkedIn, writing articles that pertain to your subject matter expertise. And it's when you already have an abundance of leads coming through, that's when you actually need to do a lot more of your lead generation, because now you've got a talent pool, or a petri dish where you can actually check to see if you're attracting the right kind of people, who you can solve their problems. And it's not the time for you to rest on your laurels and continue to just relax just because you've got leads coming through. This is the time for you to actually double up on your lead generation. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier on, you need to determine your ideal output. You need to identify that ideal output. It's very key for coaches, consultants, and small business owners to identify the ideal level of output that you're capable of producing. All right, how many calls can you make a day? How many people can you reach out to? How many emails can you write? All of this stuff you need to be very consistent around, because then it makes it easy for you to notice either if your team is underperforming, or if your team is not reaching their targets, in order for them to consistently be generating these leads that are coming through, etc. And one thing that you need to do, as a as a person who is wanting to mitigate the whole feast or famine treadmill, because it's very difficult once you are in the feast mode for you to actually convert any sales, because people can sense and tell the hunger that you have, and then nobody wants to work with somebody who they feel like them buying from them is their saving grace. Okay, so you need to focus what it is that you're going to be doing, and keep updating your own expertise. All right, this is where you need to constantly be renewing your own brilliance. Okay, this might not be a hard thing for coaches and consultants because in our industries we are expected to consistently be updating our credentials and moving in with the times. But some people just think that whatever they studied in college or whatever they studied when they were transitioning to starting their own business is enough. No, 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 no. You have to constantly be updating yourself with either marketing, health, wealth, all of those things, because you want to be able to be the go-to person that your clients rely on when it comes to information that helps them have a happier existence. All right, so at the end of the day, if you're just a subject matter expert in that particular domain of yours and you're not consistently updating yourself, you become like Nokia or like Kodak or like all the other companies, like BlackBerry, companies that thought they were on top of their game, yet they still did not, even scrap the surface of where technology was heading to. It's quite funny. This whole renewing your brilliance thing reminds me of a story. Just the other day, I was driving with my daughter home from school when she saw a strange box on the side of the road, and it was on a pole with cables streaming out of it, and the box had something inside of it, like a blue handset on the outside. And she's like, "Dad, what's that?" And I was like, "That's a payphone." And she's like, "What's a payphone?" And I say, people used to, or maybe still do, put money in the payphone to call people they need to talk to. She rolled her eyes, and then she's like, "Why don't they just text or use their own mobile phones?" So in her own light, this is true, because she's never had a need for using a payphone, or even heard of anyone that she knows that she watches on YouTube that has stopped by and used a payphone to contact someone. So at age 7, my daughter is a Roblox. I don't know if you know the game Roblox. It's a server you go in and there's multitude of games. She's a Roblox master and she knows how to play it on the TV. And wherever we go to her cousins or auntie's place, they're versing each other. There's different modes of playing. It's a whole new world that I never knew growing up. So I'm learning a lot of things from her. And her aunt knows that she responds nearly instantly on WhatsApp or on those message modalities, and she's much more naturally interested via WhatsApp than speaking to her on the phone. The other day it was her birthday and she had gone with her mom out to play, and for some weird reason she was not happy, and her mom called and says, "Hey, speak to her." And I couldn't connect with her on the phone. She doesn't understand the whole calling concept. But when I was messaging her, she was responding and she was telling me everything that was going on. So even her grandparents in Africa struggle with this. I've recently set them up on Facebook so that they could keep in touch with family and see our pictures, because we've got her little sister growing up and they've missed out on their grandkids. But it has been a long and difficult battle for me to persuade them to use new technology that could connect them to the family that they love so much. Now, can you imagine? You might be caught up in what used to work back in the time. Maybe you're still faxing your clients' information. Maybe you're still relying on methodologies that no longer work in this day and age. All right. If you have identified your target audience and you've clarified your message, you should know the media or the playground that they can be found, so that you can avoid being in a feast or famine scenario. Because what happens is, you might just find a vein of really good leads, and then you start following it like like a miner possessed, and only to find that vein dries up in no time, and before you know it, you are back to ground zero again, trying to find clients that can pay, stay, and refer. So with new technology, with a lot of people, I know it scares us. We aren't all sure how to use it, and we are very fearful of messing things up. And being in Australia, where they always say that the statement should be right, or something like, why break something that is not, why fix something that is not broken? You see, there's also companies that are selling us identity theft security programs to the older generation, and they're prying on this fear and making the internet seem much more dangerous than it actually is. As individuals that are coaches, consultants, and small business owners, we must evolve and learn to use this new technology. You see, I'm showing up every single day on this podcast. This is something new to me, but I've realized that this is such a very good media where I can just sit here, think of a topic, or get somebody asking me questions, and then I answer them via podcast, where I speak one to many, and this can be distributed to so many other channels. Okay, so you don't want to suffer the fate of a payphone. Yes, it used to work back in its time, but right now it is now a useless commodity. Okay, it's nothing but a museum of what was. So you don't want your website, your social media, or anything of that nature to have the same effect or the same depth that the payphone had. Okay, you want to rise like a phoenix. Okay, and it's much better to do mediocre when you're trying something new than to continue to rely on older perfections. What used to work 5 years ago is now at your detriment right now. Our clients have changed, their budgets have evolved. All of that stuff is happening right in front of us. You know what I mean? And the methods that we used to use 5 years ago are now to our own detriment. So if you're not evolving with the technology that is working right now, if you're not working towards creating for and relating to the customer of today, then my friend, you will be in feast and famine treadmill for the rest of your business life. Okay, so like I was saying, your best thinking 5 years ago is now your baggage today. I don't know if you've been on a plane lately. If you fly Virgin or Jetstar, they have a limit to the kind of baggage that you can bring on the plane, and everything else you pay for. So if you're bringing baggage to this newly found customer, then you'll be paying through your teeth to just be able to reach them. And that's why you always be in famine mode. So let's face it, the business world today is nothing like it was 5 years ago. Marketing budgets are now tighter, customers are now more skeptical, and social media has changed forever the way we talk to our customer. And I know if you've been a coach, a consultant, or a service business owner, for a while, you're probably, all this sounds unbelievable because you're living in your own bubble, and, you high five with your mates and you like each other's LinkedIn profiles, and maybe your BS detector may be going haywire, thinking, oh, why should I learn something new, or why should I fix what's not broken? And it's totally understandable. I used to feel that way too, and I probably wouldn't have believed it either, that I actually need to renew my own brilliance. I need to really evolve into the new way of doing business. All right, so if you've been in Australia during the lockdowns, you would have noticed that a lot of people, maybe yourself, could access their super through their mobile phones, and they could get JobKeeper, which was a means of survival through their mobile phones. So if your website is not mobile friendly, if you're not reaching out to people via blogs, content marketing, or even podcasts like this, then my friend, you will be doing the whole feast of famine treadmill until the end of time. Okay, just expect that this is what the new customer is going to be expecting. And it's much, much better, like I say, to be mediocre at trying something new than continue to rely on older perfections. All right. So reach out, learn, and embrace the new, whether it's an individual, or as a whether as an individual or as a business owner. Just let your light shine in previously unexplored space. You never know what it might end up as. You know what I mean? The internet and social network are vastly expanding space right now. Even Facebook has even evolved to what they call meta, which is now virtual. We can't now live without our own virtual reality spaces right now, and we will all either expand into it, or it will all implode in our face. The choice is yours. All right, you either run with it or you get run over. All right, so Live Long Digital Marketing can help you with your social media and actually reaching out to your audience, so that you too can be, do, and have a business that's profitable and enjoyable, and you can withstand the test of time and get off the feast and famine treadmill. Okay, social media has many uses, either personal or business, and we can help you either with social media ads, YouTube banner ads, LinkedIn feed management and ads as well, and any other social media promotions. Just know too that we are the digital marketing company that can help you make your website new, look sharp, and be effective, so that you can earn more money with less struggle. We'll be happy to talk to you about these things. Just contact us through whatever links that you would have received this podcast through, okay? Because we have gotten off the feast of famine treadmill. I promise you, my job as the CEO of a digital agency that helps coaches and consultants is to just show up on this podcast and approve some of the messaging that we put out there, and maybe speak to my clients on a consultancy basis. I no longer have to worry about where our leads are coming from, and especially I've learned to escape the consultancy trap of working for money. All right, I no longer have the feast of famine hardships that I used to have when I started my business. All right, I've escaped running a typical business the way everyone does it, by using the principles that I've just mentioned in this podcast, and I know you can escape it too. All right, you can escape the trap of being subservient to your clients. You can escape having to reinvent the wheel for every new client that comes through, or you can escape running a business that isn't really scalable. And you can also escape the feast or famine treadmill. Okay, and I can guarantee you, man, most people in this world, they aren't really leaving. For them, they're leaving for the weekend. And this whole feast of famine treadmill has now become a norm, that they don't quite know what a good life really is anymore, and some of them are just waiting for retirement before they truly start living. You don't have to wait 30 years for you to actually start having a cool life. You don't have to do a bunch of stuff that you don't want to, so you can hopefully experience something cool maybe later on in life, when you can hardly lift a leg to run or ski. All right, and if you're ready to escape the trap of working for money and being your client's slave, I want you to strap yourself in. At Live Long Digital, you will find some of the massive wealth, time, and leverage shortcuts that, and you will discover a new way of running a business that's called the online prosperity blueprint, and you will get off the feast of famine treadmill. All right, like I said, most people are struggling to even put food on the table. They're struggling to get leads. They're struggling to do much, just simply because they haven't figured out or identified their target market. They haven't clarified their message, and they haven't determined their the media which they can reach out this audience to. And when they've done any of this, they can't turn their prospects into leads who buy from them consistently. They don't have a lead capturing funnel, they don't have a nurturing system, and they don't even have a sales conversion strategy. And that's the reason why they're always on the emotional roller coaster of either they have too many leads that they don't know what to do with, or they have zero leads and they have to let go of some of their staff. And I want you to start delivering world class, experiences for the clients that you're going to be reaching out to, and increase the customer value that you have. Because if you're going to be selling more to the people that are already within your space, it makes your advertising costs lower, and it just makes it super, super easy for you to have a business that's profitable and enjoyable. And let me tell you something, this will reimagine and reinvent everything you've been told that you have to do within your business. And if you apply any of these principles, you'd have to live life on your own terms. You will get off the feast or famine treadmill, and your business will work for you instead of you being a prisoner in it. And it will actually scale in both freedom and time and money together. Some people don't quite have that both at the same time. Either you have freedom and you don't have money, or you have a lot of money but you don't have any freedom. I want you to have both at the same time, and this will allow you the actual framework to design yourself a really cool life that is filled with beautiful experiences. I was talking about driving my little girl from school the other day, when we then saw the payphone that I was talking about. Are you able to do that? Are you able to pick up your kids, or watch your little kids' plays at the time that you want to, or you are busy trying to escape the famine that you have created for yourself because you haven't identified your target market, you haven't clarified your message, and you don't know what media to reach out your audience to? All right, so I want when you've got when you've got freedom and money together, that means you're doing what you want, when you want, with whomever you want, with purpose, with passion, and only doing what you're gifted and love doing. I've explained to you that my job really is to do this podcast and show up at networking events, because that's all the CEO does within my business. All right, and if you're ready for your best year ever, so you can start attracting highly qualified leads who want what you have, for less than an hour a week, because I just sit back here, maybe less than an hour a day, which is the 30 minutes that I sit here doing this podcast, and I spend the rest of my time reading, man. I no longer have to worry about where my leads are coming from. I no longer go through the roller coaster of feast or famine. All right, I want to help you, because the reason why this is very important for me is because you deserve successful business that's profitable and enjoyable. And real talk, there are other people that can help you teach you better Facebook ads, or better sales scripts for closing your clients, or better ways to do and have dodgy businesses. I want you to believe that this podcast is a premier resource for you having a business that gives you a really cool life in 90 days or less. All right, put it to a test. Reach out to me, depending on how you got this podcast, and let's get started. I really want you to win. I want you to discover the steps that have actually gotten us to get the results that we have, so that you can get off the feast of famine treadmill. All right, I want to give you the ultimate no nonsense guide to help you market your coaching, consulting, and service business. I want you to build a brand, and I want you to make more money than ever before doing that which you love. Okay, I can't wait to see and congratulate you at the finish line. When you're actually gotten off the feast or famine treadmill. Okay, and I'll be happy to talk to you about all of these things. Just give us a call. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So, look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au